Texas, there was a boy who won the girls wrestling state championship. Do you think that he should have been allowed to compete in that division? So my question is also about trans people, because it's specifically about trans people competing in sports, because I think everyone here can agree we need to protect women's sports.
I think that a man taking down a woman on a map should warrant a call to the police.
Wonderful.
And should not, of course, be considered a sport.
What if everything you thought you knew about transgender history was wrong? That's the bomb Candace Owens dropped on a group of students at Georgia Tech. She challenged the idea that transgender identities have always existed. But here's the kicker. When a student brought up two-spirit individuals in Native American cultures, Owens didn't back down. She fired back with a response that left the room stunned. Want to know what she said? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. So this student steps up thinking they've got Owens cornered with the whole two-spirit thing. You know, that Native American concept they love to bring up.
I noticed you had a lot of thoughts on feminism. I'm a feminist, but
Totally
I
fine.
was just wondering, how do you differentiate between the extremism that exists in feminism as it does across, multiple different ideologies?
It's a great, great question. So what you have to realize about the left when you talk about extremism is they hack words that once had real meaning and they take them for their own nefarious goals, right? So they'll say racism, and I blame feminists for almost every ill that we have right now because they've encouraged people not to act as a woman, and they bash men all the time, and I think that they have contributed the most to the breakdown of family in terms of an ideology.
But Owens isn't having any of it. She's like, okay, explain to me what exactly these two-spirit people are. And you can tell she's just waiting to pounce. The student starts stammering, trying to give some vague explanation about gender fluidity in Native cultures. But before they can even finish, Owens drops this bomb. You know, some Native American tribes practice cannibalism too. Should we bring that back? Ouch. The room goes dead silent. Owens isn't done though. She starts questioning the whole historical accuracy of this two-spirit narrative. She's asking if there's any real evidence of transgender Native Americans, or if it's just some modern interpretation, and you can see the student squirming, trying to come up with something solid. The debate's getting heated now. Owens is on a roll, saying how people are just rewriting history to fit their agenda. She's not buying this idea that transgender identities have always been around. She even suggests that maybe what they're calling two-spirit was just some spiritual experience from taking psychedelic drugs.
And it's fraudulent, and the people...
Exactly, going from second to first does not happen naturally. Yeah.
And so I think, going
Leah
from...
Thomas, the swimmer who came in second place in
as
the
a
men's
man,
Ivy
that's
League
right, yeah.
championships. He absolutely was. If you look
No,
at the
he was
2019
not.
Ivy
Riley
League
Gaines,
championships,
no.
I literally...
That is not
look
true.
Look at the statistics. Ivy League championships
That is
2019
not true.
men's
He
division
went-
in the 100 free.
Riley Gaines, who has spoken about how she competed against Leah Thomas and it was not fair. Leah Thomas suddenly switching your gender, competing against women is not fair. I am
Of course,
open
if
to
you're
Leah
losing, you're going to
Thomas.
say it's not fair.
Don't ask me a question and then cut me off when I give you the answer. It's just obnoxious.
Not exactly the same as being trans, is it? You can see the students struggling. They're trying to counter Owens' arguments, but it's like bringing a knife to a gunfight. Owens is firing off points faster than the kid can process them, and finally, Owens wraps it up with this zinger. Look, whatever gender expressions existed in history, they're not the same as what we're seeing today. You can't just slap a modern label on some ancient practice and call it the same thing. And just like that, she's demolished the whole two-spirit argument. The students left standing there, probably wishing they'd never brought it up in the first place. Just when you thought the debate couldn't get any more intense, another student steps up to the plate. This time, it's not ancient history they're swinging at, it's modern sports. And Owens, she's ready to knock this one out of the park. The new kid starts off talking about some trans wrestler who won a girls' championship.
He was actually born female and forced to compete in that division despite being on HRT.
I am so open to transgender people. Like, if they want to have their own division, go for it. As a man, as a woman, to having a man take you down on a mat, that is totally fine for me. But what is unacceptable is that we have these divisions. This is for women. This is for men. Right. Men, of course, are stronger than women. They are always going to be stronger and faster than women.
It's like how Leah Thomas went from getting second place in a race as a man to winning the race.
Yeah, it's completely unacceptable.
They're all like, is this fair? But Owens isn't having any of it. She fires back with a zinger that leaves the room stunned. A man taking down a woman on a mat should warrant a call to the police. Yeah, she went there. But Owens isn't just here to throw punches. She's got a solution up her sleeve. Why not give trans athletes their own division, she suggests. It's like she's saying, you want to compete? Fine, but let's keep it fair for everyone. Then someone brings up Leah Thomas, and boy, does Owens run with it. She's using Thomas as her trump card, claiming it proves men have unfair advantages in women's sports. Owens challenges the student. How do you explain Thomas going from second place in men's competitions to dominating women's events after transitioning? The student's struggling to come up with an answer, and you can feel the tension in the room rising.
You had a racial discrimination lawsuit, and you received $50,000 from your school as a result of this. And you recently claimed that like racism isn't like such a big deal. So are you interested in perhaps giving that money back, or like what's the plan there?
I do just want to tell you that, because it's like remarkable to me that I wrote about this extensively in my book, and people always think this is a gotcha. They're like, gotcha, this happened to you in high school. Yeah, it's actually the reason I am conservative is because of this thing that happened to me in high school. Obviously had too much to drink and got 3 people who I had never heard of or met to leave really horrific racist messages. Now, I've never once said that racism doesn't exist.
Owens is on a roll now, hammering home the point about biological differences between men and women. She's not backing down, insisting that it's completely unacceptable and fraudulent for biological men to compete against women. The debate's getting heated, with Owens firing off facts faster than the student can process them. But Owens isn't done yet. She's got one last ace up her sleeve. If you want evidence that biological men will always defeat women, she says, look no further than the actual Olympics and look at the time differences. Boom. She's basically saying, the proof is in the pudding, folks. Just look at the records. By the end, Owens has made her stance crystal clear. Separate divisions for trans athletes is the only fair solution, and she's not afraid to challenge anyone who disagrees. It's like she's daring them. If you think I'm wrong, go ahead and start your own trans Olympics. The students left standing there, probably wishing they'd picked a different topic to debate. So Owens wraps it up, and she's not backing down one bit. She's saying separate divisions for trans athletes is the only way to keep things fair. You can see the students are kind of stunned, but Owens isn't here to make friends. She's here to make a point. And then she throws down this challenge. It's like she's daring the whole room. She's all, if you don't agree with me, why don't you just start your own trans Olympics? You can almost hear the mic drop. It's a bold move, and it leaves the students speechless. Owens has made her stance crystal clear. She's not buying into this whole idea of trans athletes competing with biological women, and she's not afraid to say it even when she's outnumbered. That's Candace Owens for you. Love her or hate her, she's gonna speak her mind.